Just wanted to share a couple of things with you. One of them was I read this article. I don't know if anybody's, anybody subscribed to Muscle Media? A couple of you? Okay. How many of you know, familiar with Bill Phillips? Bill Phillips, EAS, all right, Body for Life. If you're ever interested in getting in shape, buy the book, Body for Life, read it, and then actually do what almost no one ever does. Do what he tells you in the book, okay? And I guarantee you, if you want to get in the best shape of your life, that's how you do it. It's very simple, nothing to it. It just takes a little bit of discipline, not that much. And when you start working out and getting great, feeling good, you'll start feeling better about yourself. So I'd highly recommend that for you if you want to just get that part of your life going in the right direction. It's really, really amazing. But his book is really different from all of his magazine is different from all of the fitness magazines. He talks about a lot of different things. It's not geared towards the muscle man bodybuilder. It's geared towards the average person. And there's an article in here, Dr. Nate Zinzer of the United States Military Academy, and on enhancing performance. It just perfectly ties into our business and what we all need to be doing in order to grow our business. He says, why do cadets need mental training on top of a rigorous physical program? Because one of the things that I've always been focused on, and I think one of the reasons I've had a lot of success, is because I've been a fanatic about personal development for a lot of years too. This is not just something I just started doing. I mean, I have been fanatical about it for over 20 years now. I still do it. That's all I do. I just can't get myself to read fiction. I just can't do it. I'll read a fiction book and then I feel like, oh my God, I'm going to go out of business if I don't get into a nonfiction book that'll help me. I mean, it makes me nervous to do that. And I'm always reading something. And what happens when you start reading all these different things, you just change the way you think about everything. And really, you guys are exactly where you are because of the way you think. That you could be anywhere you want to be if you could transform the way you think. Your thinking puts you in the place you are, right? If you want to transform your life, you must transform the way you think. Unfortunately, most of us grew up average and ordinary homes, middle class and all that. So we grew up with a thought process of average and ordinary, right? Not very few of us grew up in a house where our parents were like entrepreneurs and forward thinking and thinking about endless possibilities and having a grand life and becoming a multimillionaire and traveling the world. I mean, most of us didn't grow up like that, right? So if you weren't trained in that way of thinking, right, then you're going to be thinking like what you grew up around, right? So your only shot to break out of that is you have to transform the way you think. That's your only shot. If you do not transform the way you think and see the world and see everything, then you're going to be stuck in that place, okay? You're going to be stuck there forever. And you're going to go, I don't know why. So I'm working hard. I don't know why it's getting. It's not enough to work hard. It isn't enough to work hard. Working hard is obviously an integral part to being successful, but it's not enough. You have to change the way you think, and you have to be really, really careful about who you associate with. That's one of the things I am so meticulous about, the people I associate with. If I'm around anybody that's negative, if somebody's negative around me, there's no possibility of us ever having a relationship. Zero, because I won't let it happen. I just won't. As soon as I start being around somebody and I start hearing negativity and talking about what can't happen and I can't believe they do this and all that, that relationship for me stops right there. There's no chance for it to go any further for me. That doesn't mean if I see him, I won't be, hi, how are you? Good to see you. How's your family? I'll do all that, but there's no chance of me spending any significant time with any human being that's negative. Zero. I've been fanatical about that for over 20 years, folks. If anybody, we want my lifestyle, my life right now, it's a huge part of who I am, where I'm at right now, because I insulate myself from those people. I'm very careful about that. I even hire people so that I don't have to deal with that in my business today. Thank you, Doug. Thank you, Rob. Thank you, Darlene. Those people, they're my buffer so that I don't have to get involved in all that stuff, right? Because I guard my positive mental attitude like you cannot believe, right? I'm just telling you how I operate, okay? Because if you want to be really successful, you can't be in the negative side of thinking. It'll kill you. It'll kill you. And you know what? You think it's normal and it's not a big deal, and you don't even see what it's doing to you because you're so engrossed, involved in it. You think it's okay, but it isn't. It's insidious. It's like cancer, and you don't even see it operating, but slowly but slowly, it's eating you up and eating up your life and draining energy and killing you. All right. So you have to get yourself in a position where you are totally focused on eliminating all negativity. When people come up in your base shop and they start talking about you need to be the kind of person that changes the subject. You change. Hey, how about, this, or how about that? You just change this. Don't let people do that. People will only be negative around you if you allow them to. They won't do it without your permission. If you call them on it when it's happening, because you're afraid they're going to get upset with you, don't be afraid. Just call them on it, right? Because even if they get upset with you, if they learn to stop being negative around you, then you've won, right? You've got what you wanted. And that's the whole point, okay? It's easier to be negative than positive, which is why mostly everybody's negative, right? But you're not going to get what you want out of life operating that way, right? And I know some of you, you're hearing this and you're going, well, that eliminates almost everybody in my life. Well, that's That's a red flag there, okay? Okay. Why do cadets need a mental training on top of a rigorous physical program? Many people associate training hard with greatness, yet most athletes will say that intangibles like staying cool under pressure or improving confidence make up at least 60% to 70% of success. But if you ask athletes how much time is spent in practicing intangibles, the answer is usually none. How important is to be positive, and how much time do you spend working on this stuff? Probably none, right? For most people. It's a huge component of success. It says, isn't it strange to leave a huge component of success entirely up to chance? We want cadets to use their minds in the most effective manner possible. First, they must understand what respect and achievement really are, and then they can train their minds and muscles to learn the technical skills important to their sport. Cadets develop emotional and cognitive skills to get them where they want to be, making it easier to deal with the frustrations and the difficulties that are part of being a cadet or part of being a future Army leader, and certainly part of being a cadet athlete. So they've got to get their cognitive skills, because the reason you've got to get there is because you're going to have challenges as you build your business. It's inevitable. If you're dealing with humans, you're going to have conflict. You're going to have issues. There's no way to deal with people and not have those things happening, okay? So if you're not strong mentally, you're going to let those things run your energy down and get you off track of what you're trying to do. That's why it's so important that you constantly are working. It's like exercise, okay? It's like eating. Every day, work a little bit on that so that you create a muscle that helps you when those things take place, okay? It's very important. What are the core ideas you teach in the performance enhancement program? We use sports psychology to develop 5 core areas that lead to peak performance: cognitive foundations, goal setting, attention control, stress management, imagery, and visualization. These are all things that in our business, folks, there's a book called Think Like a Winner by Dr. Walter Doyle Staples. Dr. Walter Doyle Staples. I would recommend what this article it talks about is answered in that book. That's one of the very best books I've ever read in 20 years, okay? On managing the way you think. Are you with me on that, Kevin? I mean, I'm telling you, it's a phenomenal book. And you're going, oh God, another book, Hector? I haven't read like you every day. Every time I see you recommend another book, right? It is. I mean, I would just, the saddest thing is you heard the book and most of you still won't get it. And even if you get it, you won't read it. That's the wildest part about our business. Okay. So, anyways, whatever. Okay. By developing what we call the cognitive foundations, the conscious thinking habits that build confidence, right? The cognitive foundations, the conscious thinking habits. conscious thinking habits that build confidence, we develop a success-oriented attitude and effective thinking skills. Armed with these foundations, and that's what that book will help you do, by the way. It'll help you do that right there, what he just said there, okay? Armed with these foundations, we can more effectively use our confidence in the pursuit of a particular dream or goal, right? Armed with the foundations, once you have the foundation, now you can use your confidence in the pursuit of whatever your goal is. As we are pursuing that goal, we have to regulate our attention. You got to regulate your attention because we have a limited amount of attention, right? So if you're not regulating where that attention is directed, right, you're not going to maximize your return. Okay. All types of distractions can deter us. And he's talking about health and fitness, eating unhealthy foods during a weight training program. In our case, it could be not prospecting, okay? When you know you need to prospect. A lot of you don't prospect very much when you know that's the only way to get your business going, but you avoid prospecting because you associate prospecting with rejection and failure, okay? And you've got to overcome that because if you don't start prospecting, right? You know, how do you get your business going? Well, the bottom line, there's no easy way. You've got to get out and talk to people and prospect and put yourself out there. If there was some easy way to accomplish that, well, all of us would be exploding, but there isn't. The only way is to put yourself out and make the effort and put yourself in a position where you can potentially be rejected, right? And that you can potentially have failure, right? If you're not doing that consistently, you're not going to be successful at this thing. None of your people are. And to think that there's some way, one of the saddest things I see about Primerica is almost everybody's trying to figure out a way, how can I get my business going without me really having to do all that stuff? You know, you do that all the time, right? You're always, especially you smarter ones, right? You smart ones are notorious for trying to figure out how do I get my business going without me having to do all that stuff and having to face the potential rejection and failure every day, right? Well, the truth is there is no way. That's why sometimes people that you don't perceive as being as sharp as you do so much better than you because they don't try to circumvent that process. They just go do it. And you're like a smart guy, smart gal, are trying to figure out all these fancy ways to make it happen. Well, there aren't any. You got to put that out there, right? We teach techniques for focusing the mind. Another key area is stress management because a lot of things can suck energy away from the pursuit of a goal. Finally, to tie it all together, we teach a process of using energy to see, feel, and experience success before it happens. Do all that, and we have a much greater chance to succeed. This model drives all our work. The whole system is a 5-topic progression, but is not a magic one-time pill. This is key right here. We find that around 10 hours of training with cadet is sufficient to teach the fundamentals. That's probably true in our business too. If you actually spent 10 hours with a new recruit, Jay, and you just taught them in 10 hours of sitting down face to face, you could probably teach somebody pretty much all the fundamentals that they would need to have success in our business. Would you agree with that? Okay, if you really focus that 10 hours of time, okay, and you broke it up in 2-hour increments. If I had a brand new recruit that I thought had a lot of potential, I would have 5 sessions of 2 hours one-on-one with somebody that I really thought could be an RVP, and I would make sure that they had every little detail how I operated my business and how I did things down. That's what I would do if I was you, okay? I wouldn't do that with everybody, but anybody that I thought had the potential to really be an RVP and really be successful, I would make that kind of investment in that person. 5 2-hour increments and have it systematic where you cover every little detail and you check to see that they actually got what you covered with them and they understand it. Because then now what you would be doing is you would actually really be cloning yourself and duplicating yourself. Imagine, Daniel Alonzo, how incredible your business would be if you had 10 different people in your base shop that had everything down just as good as you do, right? Last month you did about 10 grand again, right? But if you had 10 guys in your base shop or gals that were just the same level of competence as you, that would be 100 grand right there. Okay. So you've got to go find Jay Knott, same thing, did 11 grand in personal direct premium last month. Okay. If you had 10 guys like you, right? Well, it's going to take you a while to find 10. You might probably in your base have 3 or 4 right now. Okay. That were probably capable. Now you got those 3 or 4, whoever they are, you should be spending time with those people like I just mentioned right now. Not everybody in your base shop. Okay. But those people, am I clear on that? Not everybody, but you need to get good at identifying who they are and then spending a lot of time with those people, okay? That's the key to really getting this thing going for you. What happens is you tend to spend time with everybody or a lot of people that really don't have any shot. Not that they couldn't do it, but they don't have the right behavior. They don't show up to every meeting. They don't read the books you tell them. They don't listen to the tapes. They're not doing all the things you want them to do. But then you're all here investing all this time in those people. Well, that's stupid. Okay. If somebody's not doing everything I tell them, there's no way I'm spending a lot of time with them. None. Zero. Not because I hope I can change them and turn them around. I'm not that good. And if I'm not that good, you definitely aren't that good. Okay. So we find that around 10 hours of training with a cadet is sufficient to teach the fundamentals. But once you develop them, you have to keep working on them or you fall right back into mediocrity. You got to be relentless. Okay. You can't let up. If you notice, every time you come to one of these meetings, the theme's the same theme, right? Little different information, but I never get off the theme. And those who've been around me a long time, I have not deviated, right? Steve Cross, you've been here 12 plus years, right? I have not changed my tune the whole time. I just read more stuff and try to figure a different way of coming at the same problem. That's a big clue, guys. I never get tired. I never get bored of doing the same thing over and over. Never. Because the fundamentals never change. And I know that if I can get people thinking about the right things, that's how we're going to win. Okay? It's no different than good physical fitness habits. You have to keep on doing the right things if you want to be fit throughout your life, right? I have a routine that I use when I work out, and it's pretty much the same routine. I might do different exercises for my biceps or my back or my chest, different ways of doing, but essentially it's the same thing. Okay? It's not going to change. I'm not going to all of a sudden come up with some new routine that's going to automatically transform my body to a different thing. It's not going to happen. Okay? It's the same thing with your business. Okay? How important is confidence for achieving success? Confidence is probably the single most important intangible of all. Let me repeat that. Confidence is probably the single most important intangible of all. Well, how do you get confidence? Okay, how do you develop confidence? One is you've got to get competent. You've got to get people really competent before they're going to have confidence. People aren't going to go be confident and then get competent. Okay, that's not how it works. Most of you in the room right now, you still hope you can do this. You're hoping that you're going to be able to do this. Even though you're an RVP, you're still hoping you can do it. What does that mean? That means you still don't have confidence. That's what it means, okay? So how do you get confidence? You get confidence through repetition, through doing the thing over and over and putting yourself in that situation. Right now, I'm working to be scratch in golf. Okay? Golf's my thing. I like to do that a lot, all right? And so the only way, like in that business, in that thing, right, you got to play tournaments. You got to get there. You got to be willing to go embarrass yourself and play like a dog and get in the heat of competition, or you're never going to have a chance to be a good golfer, right? I mean, the other day I played in a tournament and I remember, and we were leading the tournament going into the last day, and I was really nervous that last day. I mean, and you have to be willing to put yourself in that position, right? So I go into that thing and I blew up a little. I shot 80, right? We ended up, on one hole, I made a triple and my partner made a double. We lost this tournament by 4 shots. It was one hole that did that. All right. Shot ourselves in the foot right there. But you know what? If I don't put myself in that position, I can't wait for the next opportunity to be in that position again, to be trying to do that. Well, it's the same thing in a business, right? You got to put yourself in those positions and not be afraid of failing. Because there's a good chance we're all going to fail. We've all failed, and you're going to continue to fail. But if you don't, that's where you learn what you're made of, who you are, what you're capable of doing. You know what you need to know. Now I know what I need to work on, right? And so now the key is, will I work on those things so that when I get in that position again, I don't make that same kind of swing or right or whatever it is. In your situation, it's different, right? What am I going to do? Don't avoid those situations. That's not going to get you where you want to go. You can't avoid those situations. Davis Love, who won this tournament on Sunday, he hadn't won in 3 years. He had finished second like about 10 times over the last 3 years. And Sunday, he shoots a 63, shoots 8, he was 8 under through 7 holes. First 7 holes. Okay? Well, what is he just keeps putting himself in that position. He did it, right? So all of a sudden he does it. His mind changes about what he's capable of. He's probably going to have a phenomenal year now, right? See, that's where a lot of you are right now. You got to, maybe you're trying to recruit and you're not recruiting people and you're doing these appointments. You go, shoot, I'm doing everything you tell me to do, Hector, and I'm still not recruiting anybody. Well, you know what? You got to keep getting out there and doing it. Keep working on your skill. Check to see what you do. If you don't recruit somebody, okay, you should always, every single time, I want you to start doing this. If for some reason somebody doesn't get involved with you, you say, Jay, why aren't you getting involved with me? Could you, I mean, I don't care if you do or not now. You've already said you're not getting involved, but you help me out so I don't make the same mistake. I obviously didn't present the information and the opportunity, and I didn't get you to see that you could really do this as well as I know you could do this, and you're not going ahead. Could you help me out and tell me why you're not going ahead so that I don't make the same mistake again with the next gentleman or woman I sit in front of? Would you help me out? See, if every single person that I didn't recruit, I would ask that question because they will tell you where you're deficient. And then at least you know what you need to work on. But if you do it and you don't ask and you just go, well, I thought I did everything right, they'll tell you what you did wrong. And then if he tells me, now I have a chance to close him again, right? Oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. So that if I can fix that, then you'll go ahead. That's what I'd be doing, right? That's exactly it. But if you don't ask, how do you know? How do you know why you're not doing well, right? You need to ask. It sounds simple, but I guarantee you most of you don't ever do it. You just do the appointment, they don't go ahead, and you go, oh, well, next. Well, that's dumb. If you're taking a class and you got a B on a paper that you thought you should have got an A, if you had a half of a brain, you'd go to the professor and you say, I thought I should have got an A. What did I need to do to get an A? Or can I redo this? Or next time, what do you want? What do I need so that I can get that A on the paper, right? That's what a smart student would do. Throughout each day, our minds talk to us in a non-stop stream, right? Right now, your mind is going 100 miles an hour, right? As I'm talking to you, right? Right? It's like out of control for some of you, right? One of the cognitive foundations we teach is the ability to dictate what this self-talk will be, which enables us to control how we think in any given situation. This is critical right here. Okay, this is critical. You need to manage, like when you're going into a sales situation, a recruiting situation, see, this is what happens. And this has happened to me. I'd go in there. My first instinct is to be afraid. Okay, that's your first is, oh God, I hope this goes well. Hope I don't embarrass myself. I hope that my new recruit doesn't think I'm a goof, right? We're all thinking these things, right? I mean, that's just what we do, right? But you've got to stop. You say, Hector, that's ridiculous. You're going to go in there. You're going to do a great job. You're going to really find out what they need. You're going to try to, fulfill those needs, whatever they are. By the end of the situation, they're going to love what you're doing and who you are and what you're about, what you stand for, and change the thought. Say stop, and you change the thought. You literally say stop to yourself. When you go off on those like psycho tangents so that you go off on, right? You say stop. Literally say stop to yourself and then change the thought and get in the habit of doing it every time because you can control your thoughts. You just think you can't control your thoughts. Okay? You can. 100% you can. And you need to work on that. That book will help you. I'm telling you. There's exercises in that and everything to help you with that. Okay? It's imperative to reinterpret the obstacles we face so that we see them as exciting challenges instead of intimidating roadblocks. It's as important that it's not that things adverse happen. It's not, that is never the issue. The issue is always what's our interpretation of those things that we perceive as roadblocks. It's not that they're roadblocks, it's how you interpret them. It's the significance that you give them that make them what they are. Okay? We decide to control the way we think about ourselves, our environment, and all the things that happen to us in that environment so that the steady stream of self-talk can build energy and enthusiasm instead of draining it. since the dawn of history, every philosopher, scientist, and scholar of the human condition. Since the dawn of history. Is that a long time? Okay, since the dawn of history. They have realized that people become what they're thinking about. And that doesn't mean some of you men are going to turn into women either, okay? But that we think determines what type of person we're going to be and what kind of experiences we're going to have. And that what we think determines what type of person we're going to be and what kind of experiences we're going to have. If we accept this notion and then accept that we can control what we think about, then we can pretty much become what we want up to the limits of our genetic capabilities by dictating our self-talk. You know how big that is? That's gigantic right there, man. That is everything. Folks, I believe for me personally, that's the key to the success I've had in my life right there. I'm very, very good at controlling my self-talk. I have the same weird thoughts everybody else has, and right initially I'll have the, oh God, and then I just, no, stop, and I change tracks. I still do it all the time. I'm always catching myself, okay? But the difference is I catch myself and I change stream right away. Right as soon as I start feeling that, you know how you start having those rush of thoughts, right? Stop them right now. The other option is to let society dictate whom we become. We may never find out how good we are or approach our genetic limits unless we realize life is very much a self-fulfilling prophecy. That's why you need to change your thinking, because what you're thinking is going to be your fulfilling prophecy. And if you don't manage that very, very guardedly, then you're not going to have the kind of life you would like to have. You're simply not. And it's really that simple. It really is. I know you want it to be more complicated, you smart people, but that's it. Okay? How do you teach confidence? First, we discuss what confidence is. We want to get cadets to the point where every time they think about themselves or their sport, they think about success. That is a simple principle, but try it sometime. We live in such a chaotic, negative world that training our minds to think thoughts of success can be a challenge. The idea is to get cadets excited about taking control over their perceptions. I tell them you're going to build confidence in yourself by changing the way you think. You're going to focus on any little piece of success. And all of you have little pieces of success. There is not a one of you that has not experienced pieces of success in our business, or you wouldn't be here. The key is to focus on those and not the other, okay? Think about the good shots, not the bad shots. Think about the good appointments, not the bad ones. Think about the good, appointments that you try to set up. Think about the good recruiting presentations. Think about the good times that you got up in front of a group and you knocked them dead. Think about those things every chance you get, and start bombarding your mind with all of the good things you did. And when you start hearing thinking about those negative ones where you had a bad experience, you stop and go back to thinking about when you did well. That's one of the ways you develop confidence. In golf, I think about the good shots I hit. Before I get up there, that's what I'm trying to think about. Does it happen all? No, it's a constant process. It's a battle. It's back and forth. But it's a battle you can win over time. You're going to focus on any little piece of success, any little piece of improvement, and any episode of great effort. This is important too. All of you have had episodes of great effort, right? On your RVP run, for example. I remember with Jay, you had a huge RVP run, right? You should focus on that episode of great effort when you did something that you thought at that time was extraordinary, and start thinking about those periods of time when you did something extraordinary, where Martin, when you closed those almost 20 sales out 1 month or something like that, think about those times. You can go back and revisit those, and then you can go and duplicate those things again. If you did it once, you can do it again and again and again and again. You just need to be thinking about what you did at that time. Don't think about the times it didn't go well. By doing so each and every day, you're going to build a bank account of reasons to believe in yourself. See, the more you think about the good things you did, you build a bank account. And then you're going to have a more legitimate reason to be thinking good things and have belief in yourself. Most everything about what we do is believing in ourselves that we can do something. Folks, for me, I had a lot of little successes along the way in my life, okay, that I've always really gone back and revisited. When I was in high school, my basketball, some of you heard that story where I, went from nowhere and became the captain of my varsity basketball team in high school. And then when I was in college, I did it again with tennis, all right? Didn't even know how to play. By the time I was a senior, I was the number one and an MVP of my tennis team in college, okay? So I've had these successes. And so whenever I get into another endeavor, right, my first inclination is I can go from where I'm at to being number one. I know I can if I put the same effort. And so I revisit those things that have happened in my life, those good things. And so then that develops a belief in myself that I could do it. Having the belief that I can do it is a thing that allows me to put forth the effort to make it happen. Some of you want to believe that it could happen, but you don't. And because you don't believe it's really going to come out like I'm saying it is, you never put forth the kind of effort that's required of success. So then it's a self-fulfilling prophecy for you, okay? You have to get your belief up so that it makes doing the work palatable, right? So it's not a problem. Some of you haven't ever put forth the energy because you just don't have the belief there that it's going to pay off if you put that kind of effort forward. You think if I kill myself and I sacrifice and all and it doesn't happen, then I just did it for nothing and I'm a failure and I'm just going to cruise instead. I'm going to have the governor on to make sure that I don't disappoint myself. Well, as soon as you do that, there's no hope for you to accomplish what you want to accomplish. You can't do that. So is confidence the same as positive thinking? I rarely use the phrase positive thinking because it usually conjures up images of people walking through fields of flowers where everything's wonderful. We all know the world isn't like that. We teach cadets effective thinking, the process of managing self-talk, memories, expectations, create energy, optimism, enthusiasm. One way to do this is to envision, this is a great little mental imagery. One way to do this is to envision a filter that surrounds your long-term memory. The only thing that will get through that filter and into our hearts and souls are thoughts, memories, and experiences that fuel energy, optimism, and enthusiasm. If a thought or an image doesn't make us feel better, imagine it getting caught in the filter just like a piece of dirt leaving your memory. Clean and bright. This process is simple to talk about, but mastering it takes a lot. It's a great way to visualize that. The negative stuff gets caught in a filter. It doesn't become part of your experience. It's not part of who you are. Okay? I mean, that is fantastic. So, after building confidence, what's next? Deciding what's really important in your life and setting up short-term and intermediate action steps will get you there. We actually take each cadet's goals and turn them into a multi-sensory mind feed that includes inspiring affirmations, music, and images. It's all phrased in the first person, in the present tense, and in affirmative, powerful language. The affirmative affirmations are then recorded onto a compact disc over a music background of the cadet's choosing. Every time he plays the CD, he reaffirms, this is where I'm going, this is what's important, this is what I'm doing each day. I think it's a phenomenal idea that you put those on and you listen to them every day, and you train your subconscious mind, right? Do you believe that negative movies of violence and all that have a negative impact? If you don't want your kids watching those things, right? Because if they watch them over and over and over again, there's a chance that it can affect who they are, right? Well, the same thing with our thoughts, and this is a way for you to do this to basically it's mind control in the direction that helps you, right? That benefits you. What's the biggest mistake you see people trying to create new habits? Becoming preoccupied with the mechanics of a single motion. If we had to think about every little movement when we're swinging a bat, we'd never hit the ball. A key to peak performance is letting go of the tendency to be overcritical and over-analytical of our performance. So we teach cadets how to let go of that tendency. We return them to seeing, doing, sensing, and reacting, being much more natural, much more right brain in the process. Once they master this, they can be confident even when things go wrong. It makes a difference to see all the ways that we can succeed rather than saying we can't succeed with the resources we have. It's working from a mentality of abundance rather from a deficit mentality. It's huge right there, okay? It's orientation towards seeing possibilities rather than seeing things go wrong. That's a radical shift. Hey, folks, there was a time in Primerica when That when Art did the flush thing and I promoted like 28 RVPs in 1 month, out of my base shop. I was doing like 150, 200 sales a month in my base. And the company promoted RVPs when they did $4,000. I promoted 28 RVPs like in a month or two. Okay. None of them are ready. And then the company grew for a little bit, but then of course, since nobody was ready to go, we went. As a matter of fact, of those 28 RVPs, the only ones that are left, I think there's about 5 guys or 6 guys that are left out of that whole group of RVPs that I promoted because they just weren't ready. Right. That's why it's so important to promote people correctly. And what happened though is that the company was floundering. This is back like in 1989. And instead of like what everybody did when Art left, everybody got depressed. Oh my God, what's going to happen? And they all went in the tank. 90% of the company went totally in the tank at that time. And how I looked at that situation, right? I could have just went, oh my God, what's going to happen? And I went, oh my God, this is awesome. This is our opportunity. Everybody's going to be dying. Everybody's going to think they can't win because Art's not anymore. This is our chance to blow by them. If we get totally focused and we work on building our base and we start recruiting directs and we become animals and make this thing happen, we could blow by everybody like they're standing still. This could be our chance to just take over this company. That's what I was talking about. Okay. And you know what? That's exactly what we did. That's exactly what we did. Because it wasn't the thing that happened. It was the reaction to the thing that happened. See, like right now, maybe you're struggling. That's not a problem that you're struggling right now. Hey, folks, this is your chance this is where your mind, where you can prove to yourself that your mind is more powerful than anything out there. You can decide to go make this thing happen regardless of what's happening right now. Turn it around, because I promise you, you're going to have people in your organization that are going to, at some point, are going to be in the same place you are right now, where they don't think they can do it. They don't think that it's not going as well. And by you busting out from this, by you making the decision to go for it, even though it's not going as well as you'd like to, you're going to be able to help those people in the future to circumvent and to fight through that situation when it's not going as well as they'd like. But if you don't get aggressive, if you don't take advantage of the time, then you're not going to be able to help those people that are for sure going to come behind you and going to struggle just like you're struggling right now. There's not anybody that doesn't struggle. Everybody struggles. Struggle's part of it, okay? But it's not the struggle. It's your reaction to the struggle that makes it what it is. The struggle by itself is meaningless, right? We only suffer in our minds. We don't suffer. When going after a goal, what are some of the techniques for staying on track? This is great. Anticipating the distractions and pitfalls that life will surely bring us is a good start. And then having a plan or a process worked out that will help us attend to what's important and reduce the importance of all other information. That is gigantic right there, okay? What you need this is what you need to anticipate. People are going to quit. I'm going to get chargebacks, right? I'm going to invite 10 people. No one's going to show up. All these things are going to happen for sure. I'm going to get dark housed. All these things will happen, okay? My best guy is going to get pissed at me. He's not going to whatever, okay? Right? That is going to happen, all right? So, but if you know in advance that it's going to happen and you're ready for it psychologically, you just go, okay, it's happening. All right, this is what I need to do. And you have a plan to go forward, even though that stuff happened. It's when you don't plan for it and it happens, and you go, oh my God, it's devastating. I can't believe they said that about me. I can't believe this is happening. Oh, I was so nice to them and I did everything for them. And this is how they reward me. Right? That's what a lot of you do, right? You pour your life into somebody. You think they're supposed to reciprocate. They don't. And not only they don't reciprocate, they treat you badly. And then you're pissed at them. And now all your energy is consumed and wondering why they're doing that. And I don't believe it. And not me, man. People like that to me. I go, those poor souls. Hey, let's go, man. What are we going to do next? And I'm off and running. I don't worry about that. The bigger the dollar figure. Put a dollar figure on the problem. That what's going to be worth to you. That's right. Hey, folks, and if you do, this is what's happened to me over and over. I've had all that stuff, but it doesn't matter. I know if I get better and I grow my business, they'll all come back someday. Or if they don't, who cares? I'm richer anyways. What the hell's the difference? Okay. What's it matter, right? You know what I'm talking about, huh? Okay. You can get the article, Muscle Media. I'm not going to read the rest. I'm going to share this thing. It's called Muscle Media. It's on the newsstand right now, Muscle Media. I just got it in the mail the other day, okay? Isn't that great stuff, though? I mean, think about it. Folks, you're at points in your careers right now where it's not that you need to know more. You don't need to know more. You're going to know more, but you don't need to know more. You know, all you need to know to make $1 million a year, you need to act more. You need to manage your thinking more, okay? It's not knowing more that's going to help you become real successful. It's doing more. It's becoming more. It's growing in feeling more confident about who you are and more sure about the path you're going and more sure about how you do things that they're the correct way. That's all it is. Everything's confidence, folks. I am a highly confident human being, all right? And that didn't happen overnight. That was a lot of work. That's 20 some odd years of working on this thing right here. Now I'm very sure of myself. That's why I'm able to have people follow me. The more sure you are about who you are and what you're doing and the direction you're going, the easier it is to get people to follow you. The less sure you are, the less, if you're nervous about what you're doing and where you're going, how are people supposed to feel comfortable to quit their jobs and follow you? Huh? If you're not certain about your path and what you're doing, they're going to have a challenge following you. Make sense? The more sure you are, the better, right? I was this was Hawaii last year. I think it was, we go to Hawaii last year, the company. We're in the airport, and I see Mike Armendariz. He's there, and he goes, "Hey man, I got this book, man. You got to see this. I'm reading it. It's awesome." He tells me it's The Millionaire Next Door, right? Or Millionaire Mind, one of those things. Millionaire Minds, right? And I had read that book, and I said, "Oh, that's cute." And then I pulled out my book, and I said, "Well, this is the next level, The Billionaire Next Door." Because that's what I was reading at the time that he was reading The Millionaire, right? The millionaire thing, that's past A, right? We need to be thinking about the billionaire. So he goes, "Oh man, I can't believe you did that to me," right? So there's an article, somebody sent me this, but it's on the book. But I was reading it the other night, and I just wanted to share a couple things with you from this because and I want to sell you the dream a little bit too, because I'm talking about working hard and being aggressive and being tough and all that stuff, but there really is a pot at the end of the rainbow that a lot of you aren't sure about. And, and I want you to be sure about that. I want you to know that if you do the things that I suggest you do, that it's there for you. It really, really is. Okay. The challenge is it doesn't happen quite as quickly as you'd like it to. Okay. Takes a little longer, takes a few years, okay? It doesn't happen overnight. And anyways, in this article, it says, to a degree probably not seen before, members of the wealthiest class were not born into great wealth. Of the Forbes 400, 251 are entirely self-made. The corresponding number in our survey 15 years ago was 159. If the list had been around at the previous FINDA cycle, I think that's how you say that, it would have been almost certainly had a majority of old money members. Okay. In 1996, 110 households admitted on their tax returns to earning 7 figures or more. Just that's 4 years ago, only 110,000 people made $1 million or more. That's like over 280 million people, only 110. That's not very many. That's it. And you know what? Every one of you has the option to do that. Every one of you. It's only 110,000 people out of 280 some million that do it. And you have the vehicle to do it. And you're like lollygagging with this thing. It's incredible. Think how elite that group is, Mark Cox. That you would settle for 400 or 500. That's ridiculous. Says, what about ordinary millionaires or those whose net worth exceeds 1 million? In 1989, the number had reached 1.3 million. In the past decade, the number of American families whose net worth is at least $1 million has soared to 5 million. And demographers predict that over the next 10 years, the number will quadruple to 20 million. Americans now enjoy a standard of affluence that, in the words of novelist Tom Wolfe, would make the Sun King blink. In the past 200 years, the great achievement of the modern West was to create a mass middle class, allowing the common man to escape poverty and live in relative comfort. Now, the United States is ready to perform an even greater feat. This country is well on its way to creating the first mass affluent class in world history. Is this a great country or what? It is unbelievable. Look at us. Look how ordinary we all are. We come from, a lot of us, I could see the faces are immigrant back, our parents are immigrants. And look where we're at. Look at me, man. My dad immigrated here with a third grade education, 50 some odd years ago, right? And was really poor, abject poverty, And look what happened. His son becomes a multimillionaire. Look at that. That's incredible. If you think about it, man, it's unbelievable. A surprise new hit show on television is called Who Wants to Be a Millionaire? It's a premise. $1 million makes you rich? Not quite. Also, the authors of a best-selling book, The Millionaire Next Door, define wealthy as someone whose net worth exceeds $1 million. Sorry, fellas, it's time to start thinking about the billionaire next door. Indeed, in the old days, around 1980, maybe you were rich if your net worth exceeded $1 million. Even if you had a modest bank account, you were really well off if you made more than $75,000 a year. And after all, a $75,000 salary put you at 4 times the median annual income of the time. Assured that you could afford the accoutrements of success, such as 4-bedroom house, a new $18,000 car, and a maid to come and clean once a week. Today, $75,000 a year barely qualifies as upper middle class in the cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles and New York. It is the starting salary of young professionals who, by the way, think that it's scarcely enough to make ends meet. We now live in a country where even school teachers and plumbers can afford to have 4-bedroom houses and weekly maid service. So let's redraw the lines for new class structure in America today, making some allowance for differences in the cost of living. You are poor if your household income is less than $15,000. Your net worth is close to zero. Approximately 20 million households, about a fifth of the population, are poor in this sense. If you earn between $15,000 and $35,000, you are in the lower middle class. Author Paul Fussell in his book Class, he calls you a prole, meaning proletariat. You are one of non-elite population of 29 million households. Your net worth is less than $55,000, which is the median net worth today. Virtually none of it is liquid assets. Americans who earn between $35,000 and $75,000 are middle class. Being middle class does not mean that you are at the midpoint of the income distribution. Indeed, the median income in this country, $37,000, comes in at the low end of the new middle class. Interestingly, most Americans think of themselves as middle class, but only 34 million households, about a third of the population, belong to this group. Middle class people have a net worth between $55,000 and $500,000, most of it in home equity and in retirement accounts. In most parts of the country, an income in excess of $75,000 allows you to claim that you are upper middle class. Around 17 million households, or a sixth of the population, fit into this category. In big cities full of high-earning peers, the bar should be set somewhat higher. In those areas, your earnings should place you in the top 5% of the general population to be eligible for upper middle status. That would mean you'd have to make at least $150,000 to qualify. That would be Southern California, right? What about net worth? To reinforce your upper middle class credentials, it helps to demonstrate a net worth that is at least impressive to people in the class right below you. For younger people, that figure would be as low as $368,000, the level needed to place you in the top 10% of wealth owners in this country. If you're near the retirement, you need at least $1 million and preferably close to $5 million to be assured of maintaining an upper middle class lifestyle for the rest of your life. This would be good to share with clients, by the way. Feel like catering a small party at your apartment, or leasing a new Lexus, or flying first class to Paris for your wedding anniversary? Being upper middle class means that you can do those things, but you can not do them all at the same time. Money remains a constraint. Being rich means being able to do within reason whatever you want. In his book, Money, Andrew Hacker estimates that to be rich, you need an annual income of at least $1 million a year, which seems about right. In Arkansas and West Virginia, $500,000 or even $300,000 a year may be enough, but in the places where most rich people want to live, $1 million is the minimum. Still, a 7-figure annual income doesn't capture the significance of being rich today. Being rich means you don't have to work. That's why in ancient times, the affluent class was the landed aristocracy. They lived off the income generated by their estates. It was considered disreputable to work. Work carries no stigma today, but being rich still should mean being able to maintain a very comfortable standard of living without working. What does it take? If you're a respectable but not brilliant investor, you ought to be able to earn 5% on your portfolio net of income taxes and allowance for inflation. In 1900, when prices were stable and Form 1040 did not exist, you could spend the whole coupon you got from a bond. Not today. So a net worth of 10 million can generate perhaps 500,000 in spendable income. That's about as good as a $1 million salary and qualifies you as being rich today. You want to be rich? Now you know what that takes, okay? So a lot of you need to raise your sights, okay? Even rich folks have their limits. However, they can fly first class, but they cannot own their own Gulfstream. They can have 2 homes, but not 5. They can eat in fine restaurants, but they can't, as one Las Vegas tycoon reportedly did, fly in world-famous chef Wolfgang Puck and his staff to cook for a private party. In short, rich people can do whatever they want within reason, but they cannot do whatever they want, period. That honor belongs to the super rich, a category that scarcely existed in 1980. To be super rich, you need at least 100 million in assets and 10 million a year in annual income. Don't like the kind of music you hear on the radio? Then follow author Stephen King's example and buy the radio station. Who exactly are the members of the overclass, making the usual allowances for the how old you are, and where you live, and you belong to the overclass? You have an annual income in excess of 150,000 a year and a net worth of at least $1 million. Right now, around 5% of Americans are a member of this group. Well, you know what? There's a lot of you very close to that in here, right? Top 5%. This is Milken said, wealth is a very good thing, but it's good mostly because it allows one to follow one's passions and promote change. Hey, folks, this, I just tell you, I wish that you could just see how Jan and I are able to live today. I mean, really, being really financially independent and being really free is better than you think it is. A lot better than you think it is. And I'm telling you, I know some of you don't believe it because I can see by your work ethic, okay, and by your numbers that you don't believe it is. But I'm telling you, I'll give you my last 2 weeks. Last 2 weeks, I played in a golf tournament last week, not this week, but last week. So I went and did a spoken, and then I went to San Antonio, New Jersey, and then New Orleans, and I came home, and then I played in a golf tournament the next week, 4-day blast with all my friends, and then the next Tuesday, Tim Harper, who I bought Tim's business. Tim came. I hadn't seen him since I bought his business. He came and visited me, and Tim's a professional golfer now, and so we played Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at Bighorn, and then Saturday at Newport, and then Saturday afternoon after we finished playing golf, we flew up to go visit Janae. Janae just turned 21, so we went up to Stanford and went to go see Janae, and took her all her gifts, and we went to dinner, took all our friends to dinner, and then took all our friends to breakfast, and we came back, and so that's pretty much how I live all the time. It's golf in the morning, phone calls in the afternoon, dinner in the evening, movie at night, and start over again the same way. Okay, that's how I live. And I'm not changing it, so don't come to ask me to speak because you got a lot of free time in your hands. I ain't doing it, okay? And I say no because I put myself in a position to be financially independent, and it's exactly how I dreamed it would be. I live on a golf course right now. I get up in the morning. I listen to my voice tell. Some of you hear me at 6:30 in the morning or 7. I send voice tells, and then at 7 o'clock, I'm out the door. I head to the range. I meet up with my buddies. We put the game together, right? It's usually 8 of us, and we go play, gamble a little bit, have fun, go have lunch with the guys in the clubhouse afterwards. Then I get back on the phone, right? Go do yoga or go work out with Jan. Then we figure out what movie we're going to see and where we're going to go to dinner. And hold on a second. That is my life, okay? I don't know if anybody's interested in that or not, okay? Or something like that. And my business exploded last year. My income exploded last year. They probably made $5 million last year. Okay. And you know what? This year's going to be even bigger. And that's the way I'm choosing to live. And I'm going to live like that. And you might be jealous or you might be mad at me, but don't. Because if you do what I did, you could have the same thing. But you got to do what I did. You got to build a big base shop. You got to build a big base. Some of you haven't come to terms with building a big base. The only way to build a big base, Mark, is you got to go hire a bunch of directs and go field train people and spend time with the right people. It's not going to happen through your guys. It's never going to happen through your guys. Ever. No chance. It's going to happen because you lead it. And I wish there was some easier way for you, but there's not. And I would be lying to you and misleading you if I told you you could do it some other way, because it's not going to happen. You find me somebody that did that. They were lucky. And if you count on luck, good luck. It's not going to happen that way. You're going to have to decide to go do that trek, that 5-year thing I did that you all know about, all right? That none of you have done yet. Not one of you have even come close to doing that in a 5-year stretch. Nobody in my hierarchy, except for Chris and Rick maybe, that kicked it up long enough to make it happen. But if you do, you're going to have an awesome life. You're going to be able to help a lot of people. You're going to feel great. And then you're going to be able to help a lot of other people through your example. That's what's going to happen. But don't let anybody fool you. And don't let your peers, when they see you working hard and doing all this stuff, don't you let them talk you into going and doing what they're doing. Don't you let them do that, because they're gonna try. You're going, well, you're working too hard, man. You don't have to write all those sales. You don't have to train all those people. You don't need to recruit all those people, Daniel. I mean, you don't have to work that hard. Your buddies, who you think are your buddies, are going to try to talk you into not working so hard. That's what they do. Don't you let them do that. Don't you listen to them. Because in your heart, you know what you got to do. And I know some of you you ain't willing to do it. There ain't nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with you not being willing to do that, okay? Because that's okay. You live in America. It's your business. You can do whatever you want. But if you tell me, I want to make $1 million a year, I want to be financially independent, I want to be wealthy, and then you recruit 4 people in a year, 10 people in a year, right? You write like 20 sales in a whole friggin' year, right? You're not serious about that. You're not leading anybody. Nobody wants to be like Mike. See, you got to make a decision. It's February already. February 6th already. Okay? The first month is gone already. This month's going to be gone in a heartbeat. You know, I was perfect what you said, Kevin. If not now, when? When are you going to finally do it? Right? And you know what? It doesn't affect anybody but you. You're the one who's affected. Nobody else is affected. You and your family. The only ones that are affected. For you to worry about what anybody's thinking but you and your family is crazy. Okay, even me, you don't need to worry about what I'm thinking about. I don't really, whatever you choose is fine with me at this point in my life. Okay, I'm just trying to identify who wants to do it so I can grab onto them and coach them and teach them. Right? I'm done trying to talk people into doing this thing. I'm never going to try to talk anybody doing it. You want to do it? Call me up. I'll help you. You don't want to do it? Wait, whatever. Life goes on. This is the best time ever. I'd be nervous like you can't believe if I wasn't working hard right now. I'd be so afraid of missing it, of missing this incredible time in our history. It is incredible. I've been at this thing for 17 years. This is not normal right now. It's unbelievable times right now. But it doesn't matter if you're not doing what you need to do. It could be the most unbelievable time in history, but if you're sitting on your duff, if you're not on it, if you're not leading from the front, if you're not the catalyst of your business, if you're not the one that's really after it, if you keep trying to make your business grow through your guys, it ain't going to happen for you. Because you know what? There aren't very many people talented, and that includes me, to do it through their guys. Okay? My business is what it is because I built a great foundation. That's why it does what it is, because I did that work early in my career, and I built a tremendous foundation, which was the launching point for what you see today. Had I not built that great foundation, built a $100,000 base shop and did all that, I wouldn't be where it is right now. If I had built a 25 or 30 grand base shop and I would have just done that, right now my income wouldn't be $3 million a year, probably going to be $4 this year. I'd be making 700-800 grand or something right now. But nothing, but that's a big difference in lifestyle between 3 million and 700. Believe me, huge difference, gigantic difference. And so I think you ought to do it. I think you got to make the decision to do it, and don't be afraid of it. Just manage yourself, get up every day, make sure you do what you need to do. Don't be worrying about what your guys are doing. Quit trying to coerce people. You don't need to. Inspire them through what you're doing, right? Not through your words, through your actions. If you do that, you're gonna have a great career here. It's gonna be a lot of fun, and we're gonna just take this thing to the roof. Hey guys, let's tear it up. Thanks for this week, and we'll see you next time. All right.